Welcome back to the Arc Party, everyone. I'm Rob, and this episode is very special. This episode kicks off a new series of episodes that I will be doing monthly called Horror TBR. That's right, horror to be read. People seem to really enjoy my twice annual list. People seem to really enjoy my twice annual horror preview episodes that I do with Becky Spratford and Emily Hughes. And I enjoy doing them too. So I wanted to start doing them more frequently. So once a month, you're going to get a horror TBR episode where I have someone come on, they join me, and we talk about the books that we're looking forward to in the coming month. We're kicking this off with June, and joining me to talk about books that we're excited about for the month of June, this episode is Clay McLeod Chapman. Clay has always been a big advocate for readers of any level of hype and popularity, new voices, well-established voices. He blurbs like crazy. I know that he really is passionate about people finding and reading new good books, so that was why I asked him to be my first guest for the Horror TBR series. Again, we're going to talk about a handful of books we're looking forward to in June, and in true Clay fashion, we also kind of meander around other topics as well. We kick things off by talking about like advanced read copies of books and the kind of weird toxification of that element of the community right now, but also the value of advanced readers and like my function and how I like to support upcoming authors, established authors, publishers, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoy this new series, Horror TBR. I'm very excited to be covering more books more frequently, and can't wait for you to hear. And if you do watch this or listen to this and like what you hear about some of these books, I am going to be creating an ongoing Horror TBR bookshop.org list. So it'll just be a list of all the books that we talked about on the podcast. And if you buy stuff from that list, it will get money to me. So that's a way that you can support the podcast. All that aside, please enjoy listening to me and Clay talk about a bunch of June books, and I will talk to you after. Clay, you get to be the first guest in a new series of episodes that I'm doing that kind of was born out of the fact that I love doing my horror preview episodes every 6 months with Becky Spratford and Emily Hughes so much that and so many people like flock to those episodes that I was thinking, why don't I just do this once a month? And then I just have someone join me to talk about the books that we're, looking forward to for the coming month. And I don't want to keep saying horror preview. So this is the inaugural, we're launching my Horror TBR series of episodes. So this is the first Horror TBR episode, and this is our June releases. So Clay has been nice enough to do a little bit of homework and come up with some books that he's excited about that are coming out in June.
I came up with the jingle, the theme song.
You did.
Horror TBR. TBR. Are you ready for the TBR? The Horror TBR. You need a little theme song, right?
Now I do. So great. Now I have to have someone produce that. Do I know any musicians? You're not a musician, are you?
Horror TBR. Who needs musicians? Just beep boop beep boop beep boop.
I'm just gonna snip that audio and that'll be it. So Horror TBR. The whole goal of this series is every month I have a guest on the podcast. We just talk about what books are coming out in the coming month that we're excited about. Because my whole goal is promoting books. And if I interview an author, we're talking about one book. If I talk to someone about the books coming out in a month, we can talk about a whole lot more books. So
you want more bang for your buck, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
you don't want just one book. You want 20 books.
All the books, yeah. And then secretly, so like between me and you and anybody who listens to this, I can now promote books that I don't read and still get arcs for them and stuff.
Oh, you're bad.
It's
You're so
diabolical.
naughty. You're so bad.
Yeah.
I
So
see. This is like a payola scheme.
it is. It's like, how can I enrich myself? But like, I, I don't know if this is like, you probably feel differently because you, um, I joked with you that you blurb everything. You do blurb pretty prolifically, so
Mm.
you probably get books far in advance of when I get books. But I've noticed that my Kindle app, like my NetGalley activity, has been like really ramping up in the last like probably 5 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's that time of year. I don't know. Has that felt the same way for you?
Yeah. I mean, we were chatting before about what we've read recently, and like, you know, I, I'm going to admit I can't read for pleasure anymore because I'm blurbing books all the goddamn time. And I could say no, clearly, like it's not like somebody's forcing a gun to my head, but I appreciate blurbing, and so um, I don't know if even know if it's a season anymore. Like for me, it's just like a kind of steady flood of arcs. You want to talk about horror TBRs? I have, this is my research pile. This is my I want to read this book for me pile, and then there's like this
Yeah.
is my arc pile, and I'm it is constantly threatening to topple over. So
Yeah.
it's nasty. It's a nasty pile.
It is. And I have become more selfish over the years. I've been podcasting about books since for like 15 years now. And it was always like, read for the podcast, read for the podcast. And I keep trying to like make little changes to the way that I podcast so that I can just selfishly read more stuff that I want to read. And I'm unapologetic. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I skip a couple of months of not doing episodes and I get some really good reading done, great. I filled my tank a little bit. But yeah, it's so um yeah, like last year was significant as far as like the quantity of releases, and I feel like this year is matching
Really? Wow.
matching that energy.
Thanks.
um
That's a lot. That's a lot of books. Um, do you feel like there is a commerce of arcs, or like a, what am I trying to say? Like a certain kind of monopoly of uh pre-reading? Like I think I've just been aware of the kind of like the maybe it's just two instances, but like I know that like there have been kind of cases of rampant like chaos at arc giveaways that a publisher will have 20 arcs to give out at BookCon or something, and then there'll just be a riot of arc readers trying to grab what they can. But then also NetGalley gets pretty intense where like
mm,
if a reader is not like I get DMs uh fairly relatively consistently of people being like, I want to read an arc. NetGalley denied me. Like, give it to me. Like there's like a
yes.
"Ah," and it's a little overwhelming because you know on this end we're trying to make a living selling books, and like I always have this moment of like, is anyone actually buying these books
Yeah.
anymore, or are they all just reading, like they'll read them 6 8 months before the book even releases, and they'll be like meh, and then they'll move on, and it's kind of like help. like we're, like
Yes.
the what I don't even know what the word would be, the monopoly of arcs, or the kind of like the advanced reading craze is, it's wild.
I feel like it's more public. It's more, people are more aware of it because it in the steady shift from um, media outlets, press. I was thinking about this from a different aspect too. If you look at books from, let me just randomly pull out. This is like literally random. Um, if you look at books from like, oh, this doesn't have anything, but like This is like the worst example. Decades ago, who's blurbing it? It's media outlets.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Chicago Tribune and the New York Times and stuff like that. It's not individual authors. It's not peers.
Mm-hmm.
Now everything is blurbed by peers, but also you've shifted from media outlets being like the focus of coverage to bloggers, podcasters, influencers. And so with that, the definition of who should have access has radically changed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very recent. And the rules of it have kind of shifted too. So, recently there's, I'm a part of the Saga Says crew. So like as an influencer, I had to apply to be able to have access to arcs from Saga. And you have to have certain levels of like an audience and things like that in order to qualify. So there are kind of like, they have to kind of like buttress it in ways, I think, a little bit to kind of keep out the rabble. And like NetGalley has like, they recommend that you have at least 80% reviewed, like of the stuff you've been approved, 80%. So there's things in place, but that the idea of reading an advanced copy, even 4 or 5 years ago, was for my ilk, and now it's kind of for anybody.
Yeah.
And what I will say is like these kind of newer readers, I don't know if there's like the integrity to the situation the way that kind of like the older new school had. So if I get an arc, I buy that book when it comes out. That's just something that I always do.
Wow.
And it's because I want to support the people who, are trying to get promoted. So I can't say that that's true 100% of the time, but I do my absolute best to buy the books that I get arcs of. And so if you look at my bookshelf, you'll see like there's 2 pallbearers clubs. There's 4 copies of horror movie. Like there, and that's just because I was pointing at Paul's books, but like when I get arcs, I buy them because my whole goal is to support and help authors thrive. And so if I didn't do that, like my podcasts and my reviews probably convert to sales, but you could get one more if I also buy the book. So I don't know if the integrity is as strong now as it was then. I feel like people feel entitled to things in a way that, and I'm going to put this out there. Like I get a lot of arcs. I am at a place where I can pretty much get what I want for the most part. Not all the time. I have slept in Josh Malerman's house and I don't have a physical copy of Pictures of You.
What? Oh, wow. Is this where I tell you I have one?
I know you have one. You're Clay McLeod Chapman. Of course you have one.
It's great. It's wild. It's like a really big swing for Josh. Now I'm rubbing it in and just telling you how my feelings about the book. I mean, it's I'm sorry to hear that.
That's the thing. Like, but I don't feel entitled to it because, like, if I wanted to, I could be like, "Hey, Josh, what do you think? How do what's the best way to get an arc of this or whatever?" And he'd be like, "Oh, just contact my publicist."
Can I admit to you that I really wanted a copy of Keith Rawson's Crone?
Oh,
and I'm going to probably tell this story incorrectly. So, but like we had exchanged kind of an email. Here's the thing. Like I want arcs too. Like, we all kind of succumb to it. Like we all want,
it feels great.
Yeah.
It feels great.
There's such a joy, and I really wanted Crone, but like, there's a weird, I don't know if it's pride, if it's ego, but there's definitely like just asking for an arc is like the worst thing you can't like, but I wanted Crone so badly. And like, I'm sure in my emails to Keith, because we were talking about something else, about doing an event elsewhere. And I was like, this is my chance to like be like, hey Keith, I'm really excited about Crone. Can't wait to read it, And like, I think we kind of volleyed an email back and forth like maybe 2 or 3 times, and I was like, yeah, Crone. Just kept and Crone's gonna be so fun. And he took the bait, and he was like, I can mail you a copy. And like, of course, the next email I write back, I was like, no, you can't, like, there's, don't give it to me, give it to someone else. But like on the inside, I was like, yes. And it was like reeling that arc in. And he was like, no, please. And he mailed me one, and it was just like, it was like selfish pleasure of like, you have that joy of like, do I get to read this before the rest of the world? That's a bragging right. That's street cred. And do you get to take the picture of it? Yeah. Like that's a part of it too. But I will say it's worth it. It's my favorite book thus far this year. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's big words.
I mean, well, okay, I'm not going to backtrack. I'll say it's one of my favorites this year. It is definitely.
Apologies to everybody that we're about to talk about in June, by the way.
No, well, I mean, I haven't read all of these books in June.
That's true. That's true.
These are books that I'm excited about. Though I will say there is one that I have read that is a contender for. I mean, and who gives a shit about the best book of the year? Like, there's no best book of the year. Like, it is one of my favorite. Like, Crone is one of my favorite. It is one of the best books that I have read this year. And then there are other books that we're going to talk about tonight that come out in June that are also some of my favorites. I'm not going to give any spoilers.
I hear you. I got to say, so happy for Keith, by the way, like with the momentum he's pulling lately.
Yeah.
I talked to him ahead of Fever House coming out. And I was, because I saw that cover and I was like, there's no way I'm not reading this fucking book. And then I was like, oh, I got to talk to Keith because like he's a new person. I've never talked to him. So I read it. I was like, Jesus, this is fucking amazing. And I wouldn't shut up about it.
Yeah.
And I talked to him, and Fever House did pretty well.
Yeah.
And then obviously well enough for the duology to continue going with Devil by Name. Yeah. And then boom, like he exploded. Stephen King's talking about him, all this stuff. Stephen King won't shut up about Keith Rawson now. Like, like that's
what a lovely problem to have, right?
I know. So I'm so happy to see. And then Coffin Moon was a whole, phenomenon of its own. So really happy to see Keith, because that talent has been there the whole time.
Yeah.
And it just took the right moment for him to like get the recognition. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? It's wild. And there are other authors that this is the case for too. But like, it would be so easy to be jealous and envious and like, oh, I want that. But then you read his stuff and it's like, no, only Keith can do this. This is like wholly himself. And you just have to kind of sit back and marvel, like just the gravitas, the poetry on the page, the grit of it. Like it's just truly phenomenal work. So no duh, Stephen King is going on and on about him because the rest of us are going on and on about him too. And it is like at a certain point, like certain authors just kind of transcend, like they are fully formed out of Zeus's head, and he's one of them. Yep. Why waste energy being envious of that when it's just like watching someone like achieve their status, like their deserved honor, for just being them, you know?
I was talking to Josh Mellerman recently, and we talked about something very similar, where it was almost the same sentiment. It was like when you see someone, he compared it to like like basketball or something. Like you see someone make like an amazing shot.
Mm-hmm.
You're not like, I wish I made that shot. You're like, God damn, look at, he made that shot. Like you were like happy for that.
Yeah.
But then you're like, I want to try and make that shot. Like I want to make a shot, like it can cause it inspires, not, like you can either just kind of wallow in why not me, or you can be inspired.
Yeah.
And I think that being inspired just feels so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. The challenge that I find is every year, and it's what you were saying before, like every year there's like a whole new crop of authors, debut authors, new novels, first time novels, and they are just the best thing you've ever read.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, this is 2026. And how many new authors are there that we are just like going wild over? And then you're like, okay, well, that was like 2025 that happened, and then there was like a whole crop of authors. Like you're just like, you multiply that like every year, and it's like in 3 years time, 5 years time, like it's gonna be like, oh my God, there's just too many books, like too many authors.
Yes.
And so many of them are amazing. And like, on the author side, it's like, how do I stay amazing and relevant within this climate of like new, shiny new, while also, being an advocate and reading everybody's, like you have to, like a part of the job is what we're doing tonight, which is like, I want to read all of these debut novels. I want to find the kind of new time. Who's the new Keith Rawson? And meanwhile, Keith Rawson is like, I'm not that old. Like, like it's like,
he's like, I've been here a minute.
Yeah. But it's like you get on the hamster wheel, but then there are like a bunch of other hamsters on that hamster wheel, and we're all kind of like,
yeah, it's an interesting thing. And I think that the absolute best thing that can happen is that if you love something, you talk about it.
Yeah.
If there's a community where if you love something, you talk about it.
Yeah.
All the I love Clays will talk about Clay. All the I love Keiths will talk about Keith. And that's how you find community, and that's how you find audience, is like, just talk about it more.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the thing. Like, you have to talk about it. You have to advocate. You have to be an advocate. You have to advocate. You have to, like, I feel like it's not, it's a part of the job, but it's not work. But like, I think like a certain kind of responsibility for writers is to be like, holy shit, look at this. Have you heard of this new book? It's amazing. Like, because the only way, God damn, I think the only way anyone lives and cuts through the morass of social media is if I can convince one person who is listening to this show that they should read X or Y or Z, then mission accomplished. You'll never know. Do you ever know? Does anyone ever say, I read this book because of your podcast, or I listened to this and therefore I bought Y?
Not as often as I would like.
Yeah.
Although I have, in the long history of me, this is actually interesting too, and this may be a little too like inside baseball or whatever, but like I've heard more frequently authors tell me that they where did my brain just go? Like I would like to think that I influence readers, but I think that I almost more influence other writers and other podcasters than readers, because I was talking to Joshua Millican the other day, and he was like, hey, because you had me on your podcast, I think that got me on the radar of This Is Horror, and then I was on This Is Horror. So like my influence, while I'd like it to be on the end user, is sometimes like I know there are authors who know each other and have collaborated on stuff because I was the common thing and they met through me. I know that the work that I have done has brought people to the attention of other people in the industry. And so things have happened. So I think that my impact is both, but I think that I have more of an internal impact than an external impact sometimes.
Yeah.
So that feels great and it doesn't, because like you don't see that. Like you don't see the outcome of my my influence sometimes, but then sometimes I'm like, oh, I know that this person met this person when we did this, and now they're working together on something, and that feels cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've definitely had authors tell me like, hey, after I was on your podcast, like I definitely saw an increase in sales. So,
and then you're like, 10%, please.
Zero. No, it's like never would I. I would be like, I'm happy for you, and let's talk more because I want that to continue happening. Yeah.
5%. Final offer.
So, yeah, but like, I don't care where that lands as long as it lands somewhere, like as long as, my enthusiasm touches someone else, not in a gross way. And then they catch some enthusiasm, and then their enthusiasm goes somewhere and it keeps going and it grows. Like that's why I like to amplify people who have that enthusiasm. You naturally seem to have that type of enthusiasm where you want to lift people up. And so that's why you were the first person I asked to do one of these episodes.
Hot damn. Darn tootin'. That justifies my existence. Thank you.
Well, that wasn't the goal tonight, but here we are.
Well, Jesus. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, half the time I feel like I'm just like screaming into the void. So,
yeah.
It's nice to know that at least you're listening.
Oh, dude. I can identify with that. I empathize with that feeling of like, I don't know what any of this is coming to, is amounting to. I've definitely had that feeling, especially as like a podcaster, where it's like you listen and then you move on. Yeah. You don't have to give me feedback. You don't have to engage with me in any way at all. You just take what you needed from it and you move on with life. And so when I do have that, like Josh Malerman's probably one of the most rewarding things. He said that when I was, doing my older podcast and we would come out with reviews of his books, him and Allison would go to a nearby park and sit on the swing set and listen to us talk about his book. Mm-hmm. And it was like a big moment for them. I don't need a bigger reward than knowing that mattered so much to someone. Like that's pretty incredible.
Yeah. He could have still given you an ARC for pictures of you. I mean, let's just call a spade here and say, you've done a lot for Josh. Where's the thanks? Where's the thanks, Melman?
Well, he is talking to me about the one he's writing right now, so I feel like that's a little bit of like a cool bonus or whatever. So
that's wild.
Yeah.
Sneak preview. The sneak.
We should probably talk about other people's books, though.
Yeah, we're just talking about ourselves. The whole point of this podcast is like ruined already, and it hasn't even started yet.
No, but I think it sets the table in an important way. Like, what's the meaning of all this? Why do we talk about these books? That's the thing that matters. Like, this thing we're about to do, this ritual, is what conjures sales. It conjures interest. It creates and starts conversations. And without that, if there's just silence, books sit on shelves and people doom scroll. So
yeah,
it's noble.
I really hope so. That's all we got. Each other.
All we got. Yeah. Yes, my friend, and these amazing books. So let's get down to a list. Let's do a list finally. 27 minutes in. We're going to just go to a list. What do you think about that?
1 book, 2 book, 3 book, 4.
So I would like to talk. I would want to start. For anybody who's watching the video, I'm going to peep the shirt really quick. This is my Ask Me Why I Love Horror t-shirt in promotion of Becky Spratford's amazing book, Why I Love Horror. A list of essays of why the people who wrote the essays love horror, which is nominated for a Stoker, and several of the essays are nominated for Stokers of their own, and it's fantastic. And it's made by Greg Green, who is a good friend of mine as well. So please go buy his awesome shirts. I think it's Greg's Threads of Dread or something like that. Anyway, great shirt, great book.
Yeah, you and Greg haven't hung out much lately, have you? You haven't been doing anything for a couple months.
Oh my word! You just wanted to get that on the record, don't you? So, me and Greg since fall have been working with the Horror Writers Association on the virtual programming for StokerCon 2026, and so we have organized, we've planned, organized, helped to record, and are finalizing the list of virtual panels for StokerCon for 2026. Clay, you've been on at least a couple, right?
I got on 3.
3.
Yeah, which is super cool.
Yeah. So I what that really amounts to is me and Greg sitting on these calls with other like yucky yucks from mucky mucks, whatever you want to say, the high ups of the Horror Writers Association, where we just look at a spreadsheet of all the things that people want to make panels of and kind of like make sense of it for hours.
Wow.
And then like send a ton of emails. It's not glamorous work, but
that's how it worked.
Outcome of which is there are a couple of dozen virtual panels that are fantastic. There's like, like Greg got Scott Derrickson and like
Joe Hill.
Kevin Williamson and Joe Hill and
Victor Laval.
Victor Laval is on one. I had a panel called The Horror Boom, where we talk about the recent kind of explosion of horror in fiction with Ellen Datlow and Becky Spratford, Jeremy Robert Johnson, Yaya Schofield, and George Dunn. George's Reads on Instagram. Fantastic. So good. So people who aren't going to StokerCon, virtual only is like, I think it's like $80 or something like that to get access to the virtual panels only. And I think you get access to previous year's panels as well. So it's like so worth the money. And as an add-on for the people who are going to StokerCon, I think it's like $30 or $40 or something like that.
Wow.
So yeah.
Super cool. Bring StokerCon home with you. That's our first plug, first commercial for the night.
You were making jingles. You're making commercials.
Sunday. It's a StokerCon fire sale. Do you want to talk about books?
Yeah, I want to start. I want to start with Paul's book. I just want to start with Paul's book. Can we talk about Paul's book?
You can talk about Paul's book.
I should have had it. It's on my shelf behind me here. I should have had it.
Have you read it?
In my hand. Oh, yeah.
Is it good?
So I've been reading Paul's books since, 2012 or something, before he was even doing horror, like kind of exclusively. And I've always loved Paul's like ability to inhabit the thing he's trying to do. Mm-hmm. And in this one, there's things I can't spoil. Have you read this book?
No, I want to read it.
Like in the things that I've put on social media, I've said like, it's like an anti-AI thing. So basically like the idea of the book, we'll actually like talk about it as the book. So the people are listening are like, tell me what this fucking book is about. There's a young woman who is employed by her mother's tech company to help take a man from their campus across the country to kind of like where he grew up. He has suffered some kind of thing where he's like effectively brain dead, and the tech company has put technology in that guy's brain where she can, from like a cell phone, basically remote control him and make him move and walk. And so like they're testing this technology on this brain dead person by having her take him back to his hometown, like where he grew up.
And this book is called Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep by Paul Tremblay.
Yes. Now, if you know anything about Paul and his recent kind of like things that have been important to him, Paul's very anti-AI. And so that comes out strongly in this book, but in such a cool, I want to say almost punk rock way. There's some metafiction to it that I will just let you find on your own, because like when I was reading this, I was like, I see what he's doing, and that's fucking brilliant. But on top of like because Paul always has some unconventional textual elements to the book. That's definitely present here. But the basic through line of the story is so good, and it's so rooted in like humanity for a book that's about technology. And I'm trying to think of what to say about it that's not spoiling it, but like, so Paul does that heartstrings thing where he makes you feel so much about these people. But the other part of it is like this almost existential nightmare of what if this person isn't actually brain dead. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So maybe the body, the brain dead body that's going home, isn't actually brain dead. What does that look like?
Wow.
But Paul does Paul. He really nails the story. But what he also does is, it's just a banner on a highway that says "fuck AI," 2 middle fingers up, and he does it in such a cool meta way that I just can't wait for people to start talking about it, because it's like, I just want to high five him. Like I was like, way to go, dude! You really did a thing here. That's how I feel about it.
And does the technology hold up? Like I always worry that for folks who write about sci-fi concepts that like they automatically date themselves before the book even comes out, because the technology where we are right now, everything is so accelerated that like a sci-fi concept today will be a science fact tomorrow.
No, this will hold up. I feel like this will hold up over generations. Like the way that he talks about the technology will definitely hold up.
Nice.
Yeah. Great book. I'm a big fan of all of Paul's books, and I'm really kind of partial to Pallbearers Club for some reason. Real big home in my heart for that one. But this book it's a swing, and it's fucking great, and I'm so proud of him.
That's wild. When he writes from a place of righteous anger, I feel like, it seeps into the text itself, and whether he's rallying against Hollywood or AI, like I feel like you probably, you feel it.
Oh, you feel it. And I love it when these authors who we love as like gentle, kind people show that side of them. Like when Stephen Graham Jones really goes after, your colonial whatever, like colonizers. That's when he really goes after colonizers, and it's like, oh man, this rage is so satisfying, and I feel like Paul kind of stepped into that a little bit, and it's so good.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Total wreck.
Huge wreck. It's going to be fantastic. This book is really good.
Nice.
I'm going to kick it over to you. Is there a book that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I'm going to go chronological, and I know there's going to be some overlap between us. I'm going to talk about books that I've either read or haven't read that I want to read. And I'm going to start with a book that comes out on June 2nd that I have not read, though I did get a gorgeous arc for it. And it's called Marion by Leah Rowan. And it comes out from St. Martin's. And, you know, for me, if I'm understanding the assignment correctly, we're here to talk about books that we're excited to read, if not excited to have read. And Marion is one that I haven't read, but the concept is bonkers and I love it, and it's bold and it's brash. But like, imagine Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, where Marion Crane doesn't die, and in fact turns the knife on Norm and gets him and survives. And where does Marion go from there? And I don't know much beyond that other than the kind of taking of a sacred cow. And this might be boy bro film culture getting a spank on the hiney, which I'm totally for, because I feel like you can't get more sacred than Psycho. And to what's interesting about the movie, and has been kind of extrapolated upon and expounded upon and philosophized on for decades now, is that this covenant was broken with the audience, where Alfred Hitchcock takes your female protagonist Marion, and kills her halfway through the movie, so that you're left, the audience member is kind of left completely discombobulated and like has no, the ground is no longer solid underneath their feet. But what Marion seems to be doing is taking that and twisting the kind of the decades since of this kind of like, oh, Alfred, he did something so groundbreaking. And I think Leah Rowan is taking that ground and breaking that broken ground even further by flipping it and reversing it. And I just find that kind of conversation really interesting. It's a big swing, and I'm here for it. I have no idea where you go with that concept, but I'm ready to find out.
That that scratches an itch that I've been feeling lately. I was talking with a friend the other night about the movie The Bride. Have you seen The Bride?
Mm-hmm.
I am huge advocate of The Bride. I think it was a fantastic movie. And so we were talking about it's not an empowering movie. It's just rage, like female rage. And I'm so here for it. And the back and forth texting conversation about how I'm so excited about just female rage. I said something along the lines of women, in regards to storytelling, story structure, and the thing that you see a lot is there's a something causes a woman to snap, and then she reacts. And I was like, we don't need to give women more reason to kill men. They don't need anything more. There's enough. You could just start a movie with a woman killing people, and for a lot of people, they'd be like, this makes total sense. Of course they're doing that, because this the society that we live in, the patriarchal society that we live in, we don't have to justify that action, because the justification is piled up over the years.
Yeah.
And so I'm so here for female rage, because there's almost been a conspicuous absence of it. And so taking something that's so historically significant and being but I love that idea.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's interesting to hear you say that, because I do feel like we are seeing a kind of an explosion of female rage stories right now. But even kind of talking about them in the kind of structure or the kind of like the niche of female rage is in of itself putting female rage in a box. So to have kind of the unbridled female rage,
Mhm.
like the thing that breaks out of the box, that this particular type of voice can't be contained, which is why a movie like The Bride is so chaotic and like, it like hit, like it just washes over you. Yeah, I'm here for it. I think it's high time.
The thing that I said to this friend of mine, it's a woman, about The Bride, is that the storytelling itself kind of like lives in the message of the movie, which is like, I'm not going to be how you expect me to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because of like the way that story is told is pretty unconventional, and it's probably got a lot of backlash for like the way that it, is presented, but that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
and and I think that like Sinners is it got a lot of mainstream success and everything, but it was also like a story by black people for black people.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like I was kind of aware of a certain narrative simmering at the very beginning, like right before Sinners opened. There was this like, oh, this movie's gonna fail, like nobody wants to see it. That there was like this, like people were ready for it to collapse.
Yeah.
And when the box like opening weekend, which was really good, like there was like the narrative kind of pivoted and was like, well, but Warner Brothers spent this much money on it for the budget and then this much on promoting it. So even though it had a great opening weekend, it's still not enough to recoup. So like, but then like it did even better the further along it went. And then there was this like, well, like it's not really, it's like, so like I feel as if there are certain narratives, and I find it with The Bride, Sinners, maybe Marion. There are, we kind of want to put these things in a place, and when they break out of that space, that box that we confine it to, the reaction is usually like, well, I mean, sure they made a gazillion dollars, but like, like,
Right.
and like, I don't know if that's patriarchy, I don't know if that's racism, I don't know if that's just capitalism, but like it is something, like there is an argument there to be made of like why we want these things to fail. And I do think The Bride failed, quote unquote, like the box office wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't like, and I feel like that makes certain powers that be feel better about themselves, where it's like, we let Maggie Gyllenhaal take a big swing, or Warner Brothers did, or like, and because it wasn't a box office success, we are right in assuming that we don't want those movies to be made. We don't want a creative voice that articulates this kind of passion and this emotion. We don't want that. Like, we want to play it safe. And it's just a bummer, like because I think The Bride is a movie to behold, and but we're going off the tangent. Marion.
It's a Jurassic Park mentality. Like, I want to take the most dangerous animals that have existed on the planet and put a fence around them. Like, I feel like that's the mentality that's coming out of these big companies that like try to, like you said, put them in a container or put them in a place. It's a Jurassic Park mentality. And I just love watching those dinosaurs get out and fuck shit up, because it needs to happen.
I thought you were going to say it's a Jurassic Park mentality, meaning they've made 20,000 versions of Jurassic Park and they're just like just dwindling on any return. Like, those movies are just awful to me.
I just want Marion to be the T-Rex, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Leah Rowan is going to give us a T. A little Velociraptor.
I would love it.
I volley it back to you, sir. What is your next pick?
All right, the next one I'm going to talk about is a book called The Instruction Manual to Being a Vampire by Craig Wallwork. Um, I'll read you the pitch from the Trueborn Press website. A nameless woman arrives in a police station, drenched in blood and wearing a necklace of severed fingers, claiming that she's the witness to 33 murders. Through her interview with a detective, we discover how she met Herwig Roth, an elderly vampire priest who serves justice in equal measure to the blood drained from each of his victims. That's a strong pitch right there.
Yeah.
I read this book and I really enjoyed it. I happen to know Craig. I've known Craig for a long time, Craig Wallwork. And so when I got done reading it, I was like, the thing that I said to him was, we were kind of talking back and forth, and there was like some ambiguity about some of the parts, and so we were kind of chatting about that. But the thing I said to him was like, "There's Polonic DNA in this. Like, if you wanted kind of like almost like not like a full Fight Club, but if you wanted like a little bit of like that grittier narrative that's got ambiguity to it, but with like a young woman who's like befriending a vampire priest. This is a really entertaining book.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I've liked Craig's work for a long time. I was really happy to see not too long ago him getting a lot of promotion from like Sadie Hartman with his like earlier like more detective-y books and stuff. But yeah, Instruction Manual to Being a Vampire, Craig Wallwork. Really enjoyed that book.
I totally read it and blurbed it. I had a great time with it. It's so much fun. I feel like, when you come to a vampire novel, you have to come with something. You have to bring a little something, and it's not even so much that you have to kind of reinvent the genre or the subgenre, but you just have to kind of like why tell a vampire story? And I think Craig does that. So I'm excited. I'm glad. I'm happy to see that you did. And Trueborn Press is wild. Like they're like, they're doing some nasty things. Like
they are. Yeah, they are. That's we might be blurb buddies for the first time in history because they reached out to me to blurb this too. So I haven't seen like a finished. The cover is great with that kind of inverted like blood red silhouette on top of the old looking text and everything.
Yeah.
Haven't seen a finished thing, so I don't know if they liked my blurb. I gave them two options. I don't know if they liked it enough to like have it go to the finished product or not, but yeah, we might be blurb buddies. That would be really I would be so excited to be blurb buddies with you.
It's not what it's cracked out to be, believe me. I'm a slutty blurber, so I'm a slurber.
I would be too. No one asks me to blurb stuff because I just do a podcast. So anyway, yes, please go read Instruction Manual to Being a Vampire by Craig Wallwork. That comes out, I want to say June 9th. So not too long to wait, but pre-orders are crucial. So go pre-order that right now. Definitely worth a read.
Yeesh.
What do you got?
I gotta do this one. This one I have read, and it is Headlights by CJ Leede, and it comes out June 9th from Tor Nightfire. And holy moly, I mean, guys, like I'm a genuine like CJ Leede fan. I'm a leader. I will read her work, wherever it goes, wherever it wants to take me. This is when we were talking about Keith Rawson, like this is the other book that I've read that's like a definite kind of like up there as like one of my favorite books of the year. And it's because I think like there's certain authors that you get to a certain point, and CJ's like 3 books out now. But like you take her, you take Catriona Ward, maybe even someone like Keith Rawson, and like you see the body of work kind of
Yep.
amassing itself. So you're suddenly like, I don't know, like it's interesting with like when you come back to a writer and read their next piece or their next work, there's always like, I want to find the pattern, or I want to find the connective tissue, or I want to find the thing that brings me back. And what's really compelling about CJ and Headlights in particular is that like she has continued to pivot and evolve and push herself in directions that like it would be so easy to have done like Mayfly 2, but she did American Rapture, which was like a, if not a complete, 360, it was like it was a definite pivot from what she had done before. And she does it again with Headlights, where like, any kind of like explanation of what Headlights is wrong. Like I think it's a book that kind of defies categorization, and like, like at its core, like there's it's a mystery. Like there's an FBI agent who's kind of like on the hunt for a serial killer, that was, like but like as I'm saying this, I'm like, but that's not what it is. Like, so like on its surface, you have like, oh, it's Silence of the Lambs with a little bit of X-Files, with a little bit of like Longlegs or The Shining, and like none of these things like do Headlights justice, because Headlights is in of itself a wholly new thing. And it's a new thing by CJ Leede, and that in of itself makes it powerful and like anchored in an emotional weight that's like, just, I don't know, it's really stunning stuff. It defies not only categorization but like easy logic. Like I remember reading it and just being like, what the hell is happening here? And I love it. I love that like she's challenging me as a reader. And I think that's what Paul Tremblay does, where it would just be so easy to kind of rest on your laurels. But like Headlights really demands something of you, the reader, and it compels you to kind of like meet it on its own terms, rather than coming to you and placating the reader. It's a challenging book, but like that's why I love it. It's a weird, bonkers fucking novel.
I love it when, the way that I'll contextualize what you said that I really enjoy is with Paul. Paul could just easily keep writing Head Full of Ghosts stuff. Yeah. Easily. You could see that it's in him. Like one of the creepiest stories I've read by Paul, like it's a short story and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like a barn out in like the woods somewhere. And it was really creepy fucking stuff. You know that's just easy for him to tap into. Mm-hmm. But Paul's like, no, I want to push this. I want to like explore. I want to find like the edges of the world. And I love it when like, they're like, you're coming with me. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like maybe this is kind of like that too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reading it, I start it, and I'm like, oh, CJ's doing a little bit of a procedural. Like this is her FBI serial killer hunt mystery. Like it's like, on the prowl for a cold case killer. And then it's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. And then they're like, wait, whoa. And no spoilers, but like it's just like a genuinely confounding book that challenges you and says, you're here, so you're going on a ride, and it's not the ride that you may want to go down. And like, you're either with me or you're not, but like, I got your hand, so you either have to jump out of this car, but this car is going 80 miles an hour. I just love it.
And side note, it conforms to an early trend that I found in 2026 books, which is yellow on the cover. Lots of yellow on the cover this year. Lots of yellow.
What does that say? I do not know. We're in
I think it's
our
just, that's a
golden,
marketing. That's marketing shit.
a golden dawn, a golden era, the golden showers at your Barnes and Noble. What do you got? What's your next?
This is one that I know that you have read and blurbed, so we're going to talk about this. Dopefoot by Joshua Millican. I just recorded an episode with him the other day, which will be going up after this episode. Dopefoot, a college dropout, is at like a music festival, and he's talking to this girl, and she's talking about how she worked on some marijuana farm in Northern California. It was easy money. He really doesn't know what's next in his life. So he's like, oh, I can go do this. And so she kind of arranges for him to go there. And if you don't know about the culture, this is like based on real stuff. There's like in Northern California, there's these like marijuana farms where it's almost like kind of outside of the law, where police don't reach that far. And so there's what's it called? The Green Triangle or something like that. The Emerald Triangle, something like that. There's like this area of Northern California, and it's all of these different farms that they kind of have their own way of dealing with things, and there's a lot of criminality to it and everything. So he doesn't really know what he's getting into in more ways than one. First of all, just the stepping outside of normal reality and into this world of this kind of like ecosystem of economy, but also into this kind of atavistic nature. Like, this is Northern California. It's in the middle of the mountains, and nature has a different presence there than maybe it does in different parts of the country. And so it's called Dopefoot. The book opens up with a person at a Bigfoot museum. So there's also Bigfoot involved. So what I will say is that, and I told Joshua this when I was talking to him, he has a talent for taking things that seem unserious and taking the most serious approach to talking about them that makes it a rewarding reading experience. And so it sounds maybe goofy. We're combining weed with Bigfoot, but he does not approach it that way. He approaches it as if like, what would really happen if someone was going through this situation? And I just thought it was a great, fun, entertaining, weird read. There's like killer clowns in there. There's like weird cryptids. There's smoking weed. There's crime. There's like drones with chainsaws on them. It goes in a lot of directions, but it's like at its core, it's a really good story.
It's a wild one. It's wild. I mean, you kind of like, that going in, like, but I guess you don't know where. Like, it's like the book is like, Dopefoot, I'm down. Like, it's like, are you down to clown? And you're like, yeah. And then you're like, all right, well, it's going to be that kind of party. And it is, but it's like, you just, there are surprises along the way. And it's such a blast. Such a blast.
I'm going to read your blurb just to kind of like, this is the
blurb.
Clay is on the cover saying Joshua Millican is my new dealer, and he's serving up the dankest frights.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'll buy that book.
Next to V. Castro's blurb, which says the best Bigfoot lore book I have ever read.
Oh.
V. Gotta love V. So Dopefoot comes out from Mad Axe Media June 16th. It's available paperback or audiobook. Pre-order that bitch now. It is such an entertaining read, and it's like a quick read. It's like 250 pages, so you'll just breeze right through it.
Yeah, it is a fast one.
All right, what you got?
All right, I have not read this one, but I'm really curious about it, and it's The Other by Annie Neugebauer.
I have read it.
Oh, you sneaky Pete. Man, I'm jealous. Like, the extra was such a I know they don't call it technically a sequel, but it's like a extension or a kind of addition to this like trilogy of thematically linked novellas. But the first one, the extra, was wild. Like it was just like taking the paranoia of John Carpenter's The Thing, and that like who is amongst us who isn't us.
Yes.
And so the other, like, if that exists in that realm, that world, I am so down. I'm so in. And I think Annie is one of these authors. Like, there's certain authors that are just like constantly like putting out amazing stuff that is really challenging and interesting and just like really well written. And like, I think she's like one of these unsung heroes that, it's just a matter of time, like I think the world will catch on, and like she's amassing this body of work that's just so strong and powerful. And yeah, the other from Shortwave.
I have some thoughts. So yes, it's from Shortwave. I got the extra as one of my I don't know if you can see like over in the corner of my Shortwave stack of boxes over here. And also like a turkey cooker. You want to cook a turkey?
Shortwave gave you a turkey.
Anyway, they didn't give you a turkey cooker. But anyway, it was one of my quarterly boxes, and I was like, I didn't have it on my roster of things that I wanted to do on the podcast. But I was like, me and my girlfriend were going to go sit outside on the balcony and do reading for a bit. And I didn't have a book that I was in the moment. So I was like, I just want a quick read. And I go and I just pull it and I read the back of it. And it was like 10 people go on a camping trip. 11 people are there. Who's the extra? And I was like, get the fuck out of here. So I read it. I read it in one sitting on my balcony with my girlfriend. And I was like, this is a revelation.
Yeah.
I was so like, just charmed, overwhelmed by the quality of the idea and the execution. When I was talking to Josh Malloran recently, I blew his mind because we were talking about it, and I said the story is as good as the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'd never heard anybody talk about like the story being as good as the idea. He's like, I don't care if the story is as good as the idea, but now I'm thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible. And I was like, immediately I reached out to Annie and I was like, can you come on my podcast? And so I talked to her about this book. And you were going to say something.
No, well, yeah, but I can wait.
So I have been singing the praises of the extra because it is like, it's one of those high concept ideas that sounds, it's that thing that I know that there are authors out there that are like, why didn't I think about that? Why didn't I have that idea?
Yeah.
Like, if you had a vein of jealousy, it's because like, holy shit, that is such a good idea. Why didn't I think of that? The other, better.
No. Shut up. Don't say
better. That. And I was talking to Alan from Shortwave on a panel the other day, and it was before I read the other. I was like, I'm about to start reading the other because I loved the extra so much. And he's like, I don't know how she did it, but it's better.
God,
and he's absolutely right. And if I told you why, I think it would impact your experience. So I'm not going to tell you how.
Don't tell me.
But it is in that sequence. So it exists in the world of the extra, but it's an entirely unique story. And she takes this kind of like, so you know how in the extra you had this kind of like creeping dread, like you never felt settled because you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Way more for me, like way more. Like I felt it in my chest while I was reading this book. It is so unsettling. It is so creepy and it feels inescapable. And I'm like, how is she doing this to me? But it seems so effortless for her.
Yeah. It goes back to what you're saying, where like the book is as good as the idea. And it's funny that Mallerman is the one who's like, I didn't think of that before, because he's another one who like, there are certain authors who have concepts like hooks, and it's in the and it would be so easy if it was just like, it just was the elevated pitch, like that, like, And, there's a monster out there that will drive you crazy if you look at it, if you see it. So everybody has to close their eyes. Like, whoa, that's a great idea. Like, can you imagine if anyone other than Josh Mallerman wrote that book?
Right. Exactly.
There's something to be said about there are those writers, and it's not everybody. I know this, but like there is the hook, the concept, and it's a great friggin' hook. It's a great concept, and then you read the book and you're just like, yeah, that was okay, like pretty good, but but then there are authors like Annie and Josh who you read their books and it's like great friggin' concept, and they did it. The novel filled out the concept. The book, like the concept that exists within the scope of the book, is in of itself a lived in, like it inhabits, like the concept inhabits the book in a real adept way. And Annie, I think to her credit, like they're short books, like get in, get out. Like, don't overstay your welcome. Don't make them novels. Like, make them novellas. It's lean and it just works. There's an efficiency to the text that I think we could all learn from.
I gotta tell you, man. So the Mallerman kind of idea totally makes sense too, because like incidents around the house, like what if there was a whole story that was just the lead up to a demonic possession with an 8-year-old girl. You don't have to say another word, and I'm reading that book. That is so compelling. But what he did with it is just he honored the idea so like thoroughly, so effectively. It's fucking crazy.
To the extent where you're like, that's what the book is about. It's about a demon wanting to possess an 8-year-old girl. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. That is what the book is about. But like, I think of like incidents around the house and I'm just like, but it's about it's this story, like this expansive, aching tale. But yeah. Love it.
But like, think about the other, because like the general idea of the extra and the general idea of the other are the same concept. We did we say what the other was? Like what the story about it was?
I haven't read it. I don't know what it's about other than it's the other.
I'm going to read the quick blurb. A couple on an outdoor retreat meet their doppelgangers on a hiking trail and are soon tested on how well they know each other. So very similar to the extra.
Yeah.
And in different hands, it's a repeat. It's not elevated. But Annie, it felt like when Annie sat down to do the other, she was like, well, what if? What if this? And she went there and it worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm jealous. You got me.
Yeah.
All right. What's your next book? Good. Rob.
Hold on a second. I have to get my wits about me. I got so excited about the other. Because that was one of mine. That was one of mine that I wanted to talk about. So I'm happy.
Sorry. While you're looking, shout out to Emily Hughes for making our job so much easier by listing all of these books at Read Jump Scares so that we knew exactly what was coming out, when it was coming out, who it was coming out with, and what the books were about. Because as soon as you invited me to do this, I was like, I'm going to check out Read Jump Scares, see what's available.
Emily Hughes is doing a service to the industry that she doesn't need to, but is invaluable for everybody. It is not like a specific like person in the like influencers, reviewers, podcasters, authors, publishers, like everybody benefits from this thing. It's crazy. It's crazy how like essential of a resource it is. Librarians, I'm sure librarians are all over it too.
I pray. I know it's not monetized in any way, and she's just doing it out of the sheer kindness of her heart. but like I hope to God she keeps doing it for selfishly, like for all of our sakes. But like there has to be something, some return, some sort of like something that she gets out of it, because frankly, if she were to stop doing it, which I hope she never does, the rest of us
And
would
I,
be in
yeah,
trouble.
I would have to do it, and I don't have that much time.
Oh my God.
I will say, so every book that she has listed has a link to a bookshop.org, her bookshop.org affiliate. So if you buy a book or pre-order a book through the link on her website, she gets money from that. So the hope for me is that the money generated from pre-orders or orders off of her website pays for the continuation of it,
Yeah.
because it is an unbelievably valuable resource. I'm going to talk about a book that I have not read, and I'm going to get a little humble because I haven't read any of this author's stuff, and I feel a little self-conscious saying this. And that book is Marla by Jonathan Janz.
Oh, I was gonna do Marla. You sneaky.
Well, I'm going to set it up, and you can bring it home, because you've read Marla then?
No, that's the whole thing. Like
Oh,
Marla, I'll talk after you, but like Marla's like there are certain books that are like impossible to get, and Marla
yep.
was one of them.
Yeah, so Marla was a limited release. Was that SST or Earthling? It was one of the limited, like, if I did my homework better, I would have known and been able to say it. So it was one of the limited releases. It's either Earthling or SST or one of those companies that does special limited numbered lettered releases. And it sold out. So getting copies of Marla has been not possible for, the years that it's been in publication. And it was picked up by Blackstone. So Blackstone is putting it out June 23rd. And here's the explanation: a slow burn, full throttle horror novel about the families we inherit, the guilt we carry, and the terrible gravity of a gaze you can't forget. Turn the page if you dare. And the thing that I always think about is, like, this book is twinned in my mind with Daphne by Josh Malerman, because I think they came out the same year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was individual, like, single word titles that are female names with a picture of a woman's head or silhouette on the cover.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of twinned in my mind. And I know that Josh and Jonathan Janz are, buddies and everything. So I was like, oh, these are like kind of like the two special books that came out at the same time. But I have to, like, humbly admit, I have not read anything by Jonathan Janz yet. I know Children of the Dark came out, like that whole, like, that and its sequel and everything. He's got tons of books out, and I have not gone there. And I feel like that's one of the things that I am behind on. And so Marla is an opportunity for me to, like, finally catch up to the Jonathan Janz craze.
He's great. And what's wild about him is that he's like a grinder. Like, he's one of those guys who is always on the road, always like doing events and conventions, and like, he'll be at AuthorCon. Like, he has put in the time and the legwork to build, like, organically build a readership, that, like, a fandom, his readers love him. And I'm sure it doesn't hurt that he is a hottie, but
and tall
hottie. He's the hottest. He may be the hottest author there is. And maybe I'm showing my colors here a little too much, but
same page, buddy. Because I was at a place. I went to a thing with my girlfriend. We were talking to him among other authors, and afterwards I was like, "Isn't he so, like, handsome?" And she's like, "I don't see it, but yeah, whatever. I guess you really are, like, attracted to this guy."
Maybe it's just the rest of us guys who just feel inferior and, like, have crushes on him. But we all recede into the woodwork. If you're tabling next to Jonathan, good luck, my friend, because you will
you're invisible.
Yeah. But, like, there's something to be said about an author who, like, I mean, he writes. He's very prolific. he publishes, like he's had a steady output, like you said. But like he hand sells, like he's out there selling his own work, getting it out there in a way that feels earned and like sincere. Like, okay, so he's not a Stephen King or an overnight millionaire bestseller, but like what he's doing is like creating an army of like rabid readers who love him and like come to his work like they are devoted in a way that you just don't see with a lot of authors, wherever they are on the kind of success spectrum. So when they announced his like massive deal with Blackstone, it absolutely 100 made sense, because it was like here's a guy who's been putting in the time and the effort and the energy and the legwork to bring his readership with him wherever he goes. And I'm sure Blackstone was like, this is a total no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, we're giving him a platform to publish his works, we're a wider distribution, a wider, like doing, like getting him to more readers, and he is going to charm the pants off of them all. But Marla, this is why Marla was on my list. There are certain books written by certain authors, and I think Tyler Jones is one of these as well, with Midas, where like you would like there was like a certain kind of whisper campaign or word of mouth campaign for certain books where it was like, have you read Marla? It's amazing, you got to read it. And it's like, okay, I've got to read it, like I'm gonna totally check it out. And they're like, nope, sorry, can't buy it, it's sold out, like it's gone. And you're like, well, what do you mean? Like, I can't, like, it's amazing to be told no in this day and age. You can't buy this thing, like it just doesn't exist in any shape. Like, it's like, well, I guess I'll just get the digital version. There's like, no, doesn't exist. And you're like, what? Like, I can't, like they, like, law of supply and demand, they like minimize the supply in order to kind of maximize the demand. And I'm so pissed because like for years now, all I wanted to do is read Marla, and I just haven't been able to. So when I heard that like Marla was going to be the kind of flagship book for him at Blackstone, I was like, finally, like there's a chance to read this thing that has like created such a like frenetic sense of buzz and word of mouth. And he's so coy about it. He's like, sorry, can't, they went fast. And I'm like, yeah, fucker, they went really fast.
Yeah, I agree. And Tyler Jones' Midas is a good comparison. Yeah. And I think that has or is getting wider release again.
It got a release. Yeah. But like for the longest time, people would be like, oh my God, Midas is amazing. And it's wild that like, we've grown so accustomed to accessibility that like these things are just available whenever we want them. And not Midas, not Marla, like they are hard to get, and that played into their mystique to such an extent that like it's like, I want to read Marla so badly.
There's an interesting magic to that too. So like there's a lot of that with Stephen Graham Jones. Until like the last 2 years, a ton of his back catalog was gone to the world. And like if you found a copy of something or you spent a lot of money, you could read or release Stephen Graham Jones. And if you didn't, it was just not available to you. And he had that Open Road Media released, I think 12 of his back catalog, like re-released them. And so now people have access to like the Long Trial of Nolan de Gotti and, a ton of his early work, States of Grace and things like that. And it's great for this base that now exists. But like, as someone who's been reading Stephen for like 15 years, I could pull those books off my shelf and be like, ha 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 ha.
Do you have Demon Theory?
I've got, do I have 2 copies of it?
How, like, don't those go for like $300 now?
So, do you want to do a little show and tell really quick?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to show you like the rare fuck you, Rob, from Graham Jones stuff. We're going to do a little interlude into this whole thing. So,
All right.
hang on a second. So we got Demon Theory. We've got. I'm just going to pull a handful off the shelf and just flex the shit out of my life here. I think these are my biggest flexes. Here we go. One of the hardest to find until recently was States of Grace. This is a flash fiction collection of like 50 stories. It's really tiny, but like they're all flash fiction. States of Grace was like, come on. If you had that, it was like a big deal. It came from the original. It came from Del Rio. This was huge. And then on top of that, signed and personalized, of course.
Okay, now you're just rubbing it in.
I'm just rubbing it in. Hardcover Demon Theory from McAdam Cage.
Whoa.
So this is a big deal. And it was a library.
Oh my god.
It was a library book.
Which is probably like $3,000 now, right? Like it's
this was pulling, because actually it probably still is, because the updated version is SST, the limited SST edition, which still is limited, so you can't get this. So I've got this. I've got All the Beautiful Sinners, the original hardcover, and I've got a paperback arc of All the Beautiful Sinners also sitting on the shelf back there.
Mm-hmm.
So those are like the big flexes, but this is the biggest flex, and this comes up on the podcast all the time, and I apologize to people who are tired of hearing me talk about this.
Oh my god.
The Elvis Room chapbook, published by This Is Horror.
Oh my god.
Limited to 100 copies produced.
Oh my god.
And I got number one.
Oh my god. All right, can we talk about books we can read now? Please, Rob.
You open this door, my friend. You open this door.
Yeah.
All right, I brought up Marla, so it's up to you to bring up the next book.
Okay. Well, it was going to be Marla, so you beat me to it. The last on my, I guess, list. I have like little bonus picks. But there is speaking of reissues, this is timely. David Demchuk wrote a novel called Red X, and it is getting a proper re-release through Hell's 100 at the end of the month, June 30th. And it is a profoundly beautiful, horrifying, terrifying book. Like it's a book that like it really sticks with you. And I've read it. I read the original. I can't remember the press that it came out on, but it's a very special book, and I'm really happy that it's getting a bigger kind of deluxe deluxe edition. And Red X, it's basically men are getting killed in Toronto's like gay district, and it's I don't know, it's just a really powerful book. Like I will be buying the new edition and reading it as if I'm reading the book for the very first time.
Wow.
So
David Demchuk is an author I have not read. However, what was the book that came out last year that was co-authored with someone?
The Butcher's Daughter.
Yeah, which was Sweeney Todd related, right?
Yeah.
Inspired by a character in Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
That came up on one of my horror preview episodes, so we have covered David, but have not read anything by him myself. So
his first book, The Bone Mother, God, amazing book.
Yeah.
He's like a guy who's been around Small output, but like his books are, they
Powerful.
last, they linger.
Yeah.
Definitely Bone Mother and Red X are like profound. Like I love those books. Butcher's Daughter is good too, but it's that kind of Marion thing where it's like we're taking a kind of familiar
Yeah.
concept, pre-existing characters, and kind of reinventing the narrative to kind of push into uncharted territory. Um, but yeah, Red X is phenomenal. Totally recommend
Awesome. I don't know if there's a better way to end than on that.
it.
Like there were like there's a couple that I didn't talk about because we talked about them when I did my June, or not my June, my horror preview for the first half of the year. So like I know
Yeah.
Cynthia Pelayo, as it came from Neverland, was
Yeah.
talked about on that episode. And Slasher Summer, I think El Chen was something that came up on that episode. So there's like ones that I'm not touching on because I've already covered them. But
Yeah.
is there any other June stuff that you want to even just like quickly name drop or anything?
Well, I was totally curious about it. It came from Neverland. I think Cynthia Pelayo is really, she's forging a path that a lot of readers love to follow. I think she's
Yeah.
great. I think she's like cornered that kind of Chicago uh, kind of magic realism, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, I it's funny, but like um, one, two, three, four, five. There's 5 books coming out in June that I had a chance to read for blurb purposes. And we mentioned Dopefoot. We mentioned instruction manuals to being a vampire. But I also want to mention Backstabbers by Eliza. Oh my God, I'm saying this name for the first time out loud. Jabore, uh, Backstabbers.
Mm-hmm.
The Sirens of Grove's Peak by Glenn Rolfe. And a really wild one called Going to the Six by AC Hessenauer. And that's a wild one. Kind of a found footage John Carpenter thing style underwater one. But like there's just so many books that are coming out
Yep.
that it's you just have to someone has to tell you like this one gotta read this one.
And the thing that I want to make like clear to anybody listening to this is like you don't have to read all this stuff. Find what really kind of touches you and go with that. And there's no expiration date on a book. So like if you hear about it now but don't get to it until a year from now, you still read that book, you still supported that author. All of that is totally acceptable. Approach reading the way that's going to make you read in a way that makes you happy, because then you're going to read more, and that's the thing that's important.
But
So
read Annie Neugebauer. You have to read Annie Neugebauer.
that's what
That's the one caveat. Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Everything
Yeah,
Rob said, but
read Annie Neugebauer. Like here, I I have a suspicion, and this is not based on any internal knowledge, and that's not me being sarcastic. This is me being genuine. I have a suspicion that film rights have already sold,
no.
either for television or film, and that it's in production, because
What?
I just feel some sort of excitement or energy from shortwave about this in a way that like makes me wonder what's happening, because like they're like feeling very good about the extra and the other, and I wonder if there's like something in production or something that was sold, because um I just get that feeling. So if I'm right, I'm putting it on the record right now. I think they sold film or television rights,
Yeah.
and that it's like a really good deal. The only thing that I'm going off of is that Alan said something to me, and this could just be him being enthusiastic about the reception to the books. So I'm not putting words in Alan's mouth. about how Annie is going places fast.
Yeah.
And I'm going to choose to believe that that's film or television because I want to see the extra on the screen and I want to see the other on the screen because I think that that would be so. Oh, can you just imagine like the creepy dread of the whole situation? Yeah, yeah.
That's the movie J.J. Abrams wants to make. So maybe he is. If it was in production, we would know about that shit.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm saying this is just total speculation. And I'm not doing that wink to the camera. This is literally total speculation. But I have a good like I believe in the stories enough that it wouldn't surprise me if there was like some big deal that happened because, it deserves it.
You got to ask Alan and then ask him to give me a copy of the Ark.
Clay, I did you the courtesy of not talking about any of your books.
Thank God.
Because I know that every time I've tried to talk to you about one of your books, it's like 40 minutes of other stuff before we get to it. But I just want to, because you're my guest and I want to give you a moment too to promote. Earlier this year, you had this gorgeous piece of work come out, Bodies of Work, which the cover is just murders you. It's so good. And this is my next read. So like the moment we're done recording, this is the spine I'm cracking. So I'm very excited to get into this.
Keep the bar low, but thank you.
Back here, I'm pointing for people who are watching the video. This is what's coming up. So can you just give us a quick little pitch about what's coming, what's on the horizon for you this year?
Yeah, sure. Devil Inside comes out August 11th. It's a horror man's novel. I get to tell a love story about a boy who meets a demon.
How much love and how much horror are we talking about here? Or is it wait and see?
I guess it depends on who you ask. Like, it is a love story. And I really kind of wanted to lose myself in that kind of rapturous, first love. I don't know. I love that stuff. But apparently it's like pretty dark. I think people are saying like it's dark. I'm the reader feedback is kind of making its way to me, and it's the things I'm picking up on is that it's like, oh wow, this is a toxic one. Bad love, nasty love, dark love.
Well, that's probably pretty easy to identify with. We've probably all had our hard moments in love and romance. Maybe, I don't know to the degree that you wrote, but I'm excited to find out where I land on that spectrum.
The love spectrum. Isn't there a love spectrum TV show? Love on the Spectrum? That's what I'm thinking.
Love on the Spectrum. Yeah, but that's more about autism than
totally different. Never mind. Scratch that.
What else you got going on? You got any cons coming up or?
Oh man. Well, I'll be on book tour for pretty much the latter half of the year for Devil Inside, which is going to be pretty cool. I'm working on a new novel that comes out next year called Mr. Lonely Hearts with Tor Nightfire. Kind of in the thick of that one right now. I'm just trying to like find my way in this world and tell the stories I want to tell and try to find people who want to read them.
Well, I'm always showing up for that. I'm here for it.
I hope I never lose you.
You won't. You can't. You can't lose me. I'm a for lifer. So, Clay, thank you so much for kicking off the Horror TBR series. I'm putting my hand up as if maybe a graphic will appear, but it's probably not going to because that's not the way that I do this. I really appreciate your enthusiasm for books and readers and just talking about stories in general has always made me draw. Like I've been drawn to that. I think that's a great quality that you have. And And it's always just such an amazing time talking to you. I feel like we're just hanging out chatting. We're not doing a podcast. And that
you're going to edit this down to like 20 minutes and it'll just be like this book, this book, this book. But we
just talk about the other and that's it. That's the whole episode.
Let me sing the theme music one last time just so that it's on record. And you can use it for every other episode. Da, 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 da. What do you see from afar? It's your horror TBR.
Oh my God. You just gave me the rights to that, so I will be using that. It's going to be every episode. That's what's going to happen. So
if you do that, I will be so happy. But even if you just do it once, I will my giggles.
Nope, that's the theme song now. I didn't know I needed a theme song until you sang it, but now that's the theme song. So
amazing.
Very excited about that. All right, Clay. Thanks so much, man. And maybe I'll cajole you into doing another one of these sometime down the road.
Anytime, man. Thank you for having me.
Okay, this is a long one, so I'm going to keep it short. Please pre-order these books. Pre-orders are crucial to the success of new books. And I was talking with Alan from Shortwave Publishing about just how influential pre-orders can be to even how bookstores choose to or choose not to stock specific titles. So pre-orders, you might think, oh yeah, whatever, they say it's important. It actually is. Like if you don't pre-order a book and then you don't see it stocked in a shelf in a bookstore later on, that's because they didn't get enough pre-orders to have the bookstore justify, ordering in a bunch of books. So pre-order however you will. Bookshop.org links that I provide do kick a little money back to me, so that's always helpful in supporting the podcast. We'll be back for another Horror TBR later in June, in the lead up to July. And coming next, you're going to get an episode with Joshua Millican talking about his upcoming book, Dopefoot, which we just talked about in this episode. So please check out that episode. Follow me on all the socials. Support me on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a rating, leave a review, subscribe. And again, hit those bookshop.org affiliate links so that I can get a little bit of money for the podcast. Thank you. See you next time. And until we talk, remember to always carry a book.